After the chains, after the ships, after the wars, the propaganda, the hatred, what remains? Humanity. Because every empire eventually falls, but dignity survives.
No chain can hold what the spirit defends. Human dignity, where the healing begins. From the ashes of the pain, let the broken rise again. Every soul got value, from the stranger to the friend. Can hold what the spirit defends. Truth and compassion, where the future depends. Through the darkness of the past, let humanity transcend. Human dignity, where the healing began. History bleeding through the centuries of sorrow. Slave ships crossing oceans, stealing generations tomorrow. Colonial greed built empires hard to follow, while millions lost names underneath the shadow. But every chapter carries lessons for the present. Power grows dangerous when morality is absent. Greed transforms systems into violent weapons, and silence helps injustice spread its presence. The plantation owners thought wealth made them immortal. Kings and politicians building profits from the portals. But every empire eventually becomes historical, and humanity remembers every act immoral. That's why we study pain, not to remain divided, but to recognize the patterns when oppression gets disguised. Cause hatred evolves, it don't always arrive violent. Sometimes it wears a suit while the victim stays silent. The world changed when resistance found courage, when ordinary people challenged what was encouraged. Freedom movements born from the wounded and discouraged, still teaching future generations what the struggle can hold what the spirit defends. Human dignity, where the healing begins. From the ashes of the pain, let the broken rise again. Every soul got value, from the stranger to the friend. Can hold what the spirit defends. Truth and compassion, where the future depends. Through the darkness of the past, let humanity transcend. Human dignity, where the healing began. Not every white person carried hatred in the heart. Not every black person escaped the system's scars. History complicated when examined through the archives. Human beings capable of darkness and of light. Some fought oppression while others benefited. Some sacrificed privilege because conscience wouldn't let it. Abolitionists marching while revolutionaries resisted. Different races united when morality was tested. That's the lesson hidden underneath the conflict. Human dignity survives beyond political logic, cause suffer universal when injustice becomes dominant. And freedom grows strongest through collective consciousness. The color of your skin never measured human worth. That was propaganda created by the powerful on earth to divide the poor while the empires observed. Fear easier to manage when humanity dispersed. But every child born enters breathing the same air. Every mother cries when violence reaches there. Every soul searching for dignity somewhere, and history reminds us what happens when we stop caring. Human dignity, where the healing began. No chain can hold what the spirit defends. Human dignity, where the healing begins. From the ashes of the pain, let the broken rise again. Every soul got value, from the stranger to the friend. Can hold what the spirit defends. Truth and compassion, where the future depends. Through the darkness of the past, let humanity transcend. Human dignity, where the healing began. Resistance ain't always marching with a weapon. Sometimes it's teaching truth inside a broken section. Sometimes it's writing books, exposing hidden lessons. Sometimes it's choosing empathy over vengeance. Harriet walking through the forest in the nighttime. Douglas speaking truth against the system on the front line. Toussaint leading revolution through the gunfire. Every act of courage helped the human spirit survive. And today the struggle still continues globally. Different forms of oppression shaping modern societies. Human trafficking, racism, poverty, and inequality. Still reminding us the work ain't fully complete. But history also proves transformation possible. Walls collapse eventually when the people become conscious. Justice starts growing when humanity acknowledges the pain of the past while protecting the powerless. So don't let history turn your heart into bitterness. Let it sharpen wisdom, compassion, and awareness. Because revenge reproduces the same sickness. But understand